Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and today we're going to delve into another distressing case together. Colby Allen Trickle was born in November 1993 and spent his early years in the town of Hays, Kansas, a place about 2.5 hours from northwest Wichita. At the age of 18, he met Kristen, a peer of the same age. She had been born in California in August 1993. After her mother left her at the tender age of 2, Kristen eventually found her way to Hays, Kansas, and completed her high school education in 2013. Colby and Kristen married on April 25, 2014, and moved to Kansas City, but life there posed its difficulties. Colby served in the Army Reserve, while trying to earn a living through various jobs, though financial success eluded him. Kristen found employment at a veterinary clinic. However, the financial strain became unsustainable, prompting the couple to return to Hays in early 2019. Back in Hays, while continuing his Army Reserve duties, Colby also pursued his passion for music. Meanwhile, Kristen secured a position at the gardening center of a Walmart store and dreamt of one day opening her own pet boarding business. Shifting focus to the crime's chronology, in the early morning of October 31, 2019, Colby Trickle made an emergency call to report his wife's death. Upon arrival, law enforcement discovered 26-year-old Kristen Trickle deceased in her bed, with a .357 Magnum revolver resting on her person. She had sustained a fatal gunshot wound to the head, the bullet having entered beneath her chin. While first responders administered CPR, Colby conversed with officers on the front porch, where he shared his interest in video games like Call of Duty and Minecraft. Despite efforts to revive her, Kristen was pronounced dead at the scene. Colby underwent an 11-hour police interrogation, during which he recounted the events preceding the shooting. He explained that Kristen returned from her shift at Walmart a few hours before the incident, and they spent some time playing video games before retiring to bed, with Colby turning in first. Later, he was jolted awake by the sound of a gunshot. Turning to Kristen, he immediately noticed she had suffered a gunshot wound, with a revolver resting on her neck. After dialing 911, he checked for a pulse, but found none. In a state of shock, Colby briefly contemplated turning the revolver on himself, but ultimately set it aside on Kristen's stomach. When questioned about a life insurance policy, Colby stated that only he was insured, not Kristen. On November 3, 2019, 3 days following the incident, the coroner concluded that Kristen Trickle had taken her own life, noting that the revolver had been discharged in close proximity to her chin and was aligned parallel to her body. Despite initial beliefs, investigators began to suspect that Colby might have been responsible for Kristen's death. Several suspicious factors emerged, such as Colby's text message exchanges with another woman, some of which were sexually explicit. Remarkably, he continued to message this individual even while at the police station, indicating his desire to speak with her. Contrary to Colby's claims, it was discovered that Kristen was covered by 2 life insurance policies, one through her employer and another through the military. While Colby might have been unaware of the employer-provided policy, he was certainly cognizant of the military insurance coverage. 10 days prior to Kristen's death, Colby conducted an online search regarding the payout of her life insurance policy. During a follow-up interview on November 4th, Colby refuted the allegation that he had made the search, suggesting instead that Kristen might have used his phone for that purpose. Regarding his communications with another woman, Colby explained that their acquaintance began a month before Kristen's demise through a group chat associated with a video game, emphasizing that their interaction was limited to text messages and lacked any physical aspect. However, the police's investigation into the life insurance inquiry revealed that Kristen was at work when the search was conducted, making it improbable that she used Colby's phone unless she had taken it to her workplace, which seemed unlikely. The police suspected Colby as the perpetrator, yet the case remained stagnant until a shift occurred in January 2021 with the appointment of a new county attorney. Progress was made 6 months later when, on July 14, 2021, Colby Trickle was apprehended and indicted for murder and obstructing law enforcement. The obstruction charge stemmed from allegations that Colby had provided misleading information to the police on the day of the shooting and in subsequent interactions. Fast forward over 2 years, in September 2023, Colby was found guilty of premeditated first-degree murder. By November, he received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 50 years for the murder conviction and an additional 6 months for the obstruction conviction. In Kansas, this type of 50-year sentence is known as the hard 50, which is served in full without the possibility of reduced time for good behavior. Consequently, Colby is expected to serve the entire duration, implying his release at approximately 80 years of age. Examining the evidence, both supporting and contesting Colby's guilt, we begin with the incriminating factors. Approximately a month before Kristen's death, Colby initiated sexually explicit text exchanges with a woman he encountered online. He initially informed the police that he believed Kristen was unaware of this affair, yet he later admitted to a mental health professional that Kristen was indeed cognizant of the other woman. Crucially, 10 days before Kristen's demise, Colby searched for the payout details of her life insurance policy. Despite his claim that Kristen might have used his phone to make the search, records show she was at her workplace at the time. Furthermore, Colby misled the authorities by denying the existence of Kristen's life insurance policy. Colby's behavior was often described as domineering and controlling, always seeking to know Kristen's whereabouts and activities. Contrary to any indications of depression, Kristen appeared to have future plans, as evidenced by setting her alarm and preparing Halloween candy on the day of her death. Notably, at the time of her death, Kristen was found in her underwear, which is inconsistent with her known modesty. Additionally, the use of a substantial and potent firearm in her death is peculiar, given her aversion to guns and lack of experience with them. Colby informed the police that the .357 Magnum revolver was typically kept on Kristen's side of the bed. However, a photograph contradicted this claim, showing the revolver on a small table on Colby's side instead. Colby's actions post-shooting raised suspicions. He admitted to handling the revolver before placing it back on Kristen's body, which could be perceived as an attempt to account for any potential forensic evidence linking him to the weapon. Colby also misrepresented his military service to the police, claiming deployments to the Middle East and Central America, despite never being stationed outside the United States. Kristen's life insurance totaled $220,000, with $100,000 from military benefits and $20,000 through her employer. Within 2 days of receiving the insurance payout, Colby made several extravagant purchases. He spent $1,942 on a high-end life-size doll, in addition to acquiring a pulsating Passion Playmate. He also invested in music equipment, video games, and settled debts. Remarkably, Colby depleted all the life insurance funds within 8 months. Turning our attention to the exculpatory evidence, the scene in the bedroom, where Kristen passed away, showed no signs of a struggle. Kristen bore no additional injuries or scars, suggesting she had not been subjected to prolonged physical abuse. The coroner concluded that Kristen's death was self-inflicted, a finding that remained unaltered throughout the trial. Colby's defense attorney presented the argument that Colby was engaged in completing his own life insurance paperwork around the time Kristen's policy benefits were searched for, implying the search was for innocuous reasons. Colby's rapid expenditure of the insurance money could be attributed to a lack of conscientiousness rather than malfeasance. He was not known for his ambition and seemed more invested in video games than in pursuing meaningful employment. The purchase of the life-size doll, according to Colby's mother, was for therapeutic purposes. She indicated that Colby experienced nightmares and sleep disturbances following Kristen's death, and the doll was intended to offer comfort and warmth, not to satisfy any sexual desires. This perspective suggests a non-nefarious interpretation of the evidence. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on new stories from around the world. See you soon. Take care.